The reason is because I was always playing like a lot of ranger and bow builds, so that's why I really like to continue with this. And yeah, the also good thing is I was checking the ascendancy and I was seeing this point number one, 30% chance that if you would gain a frenzy charge, you instead gain up to your maximum number of frenzy charges. That's pretty good. Number two, thrilling case. Benefits from consuming frenzy charges for your skills have 50% chance to be doubled. So that's pretty good if you consume a frenzy charge, because they are like working different now in Path of Exile 2. They are not giving like any attack speed bonuses. They're just giving some bonuses on different skills when they are getting consumed, as far as I know. So yeah, so I would go 1, 2, and then I would go Gathering Winds, gain Tailwind on skill use, lose all Tailwind when hit. That's more the defense side. So this is the defense side. I would go 7, and then number 8, Wind Ward, 3% less damage taken per Tailwind. So it's 30% less damage taken because you get 10 stacks. And when you have the 10 stacks before you get hit, you get 10% increased movement speed, 30 increased skill speed, and 150% increased evasion rating when you have like 10 stacks. That's pretty good. And what I want to try. So we have here the PoE2skills.com. There you can play around with different skill combinations. And yeah, for the early start, I'm just saying that I want to try this out for the early game, and it will probably change a lot during the campaign, or even in late game I will change some main attacks. But for the early start, I want to start with lightning arrow. It fires a charged arrow at the target on hitting an enemy or wall. The arrow will fire beams at nearby enemies, chaining from them. So I will connect this arrow with conduction. Supported skills have 100% increased chance to shock. Then I want to add an extra chain. Supported skills chain plus 1 time. Supported skills chain 100% more times. And deal 50% less damage with hits. Then I want to try critical damage. Supported skills have 50% increased critical damage bonus. Supported skills deal 20% less damage with hits. Added lightning damage. Supported attacks gain 25% of damage as extra lightning damage. Supported skills deal 50% less fire and cold. And innovate. Attacks gain another additional 20% of damage as extra lightning damage for 5 seconds on killing a shocked enemy with supported skills. So we got 70% attack damage from our bow, what is converted, and we add some extra more lightning. Our second, or our 2 second choices, I would go lightning rod, because you can get it from level 2. It says fires an arrow that drops from above, creating a lightning burst. The arrow remains in the ground, and any chaining lightning beams can chain to it. When chained to the arrow, release another lightning burst. So arrows remains for 12 seconds, converts 100% of physical damage to lightning damage. Base burst radius is 2 meters. So if you're shooting this lightning arrow with like lightning damage, and you are hitting the lightning rod and it's chaining to this, it extra bursts So that is probably a really good combination for extra chaining and extra burst damage. So I maybe go for volley support. I just have to try it out if we need more of the lightning rods sticking in the ground, or if we need more or less, or how we do how we arrange them, if we want to have them in all sides, or even like multiple projectiles, or any other form of more projectiles. I have to try this out when we are starting in 2 days. So the next attack, it's level 6, Electrocutting Arrow. That's a really interesting one. It costs 19 mana, 15% of base attack speed, and attack damage is 153%. Leap forward into the air and fire downward. Hitting an enemy will attach an electrocuting rod to them, causing all incoming lightning damage to apply electrocutting. This rod is removed when the enemy is next electrocuted. I'm not 100% sure what it says, what is electrocuted, but it looks and hears, it sounds pretty interesting, and I want to see how this looks. So I would add Lightning Mastery +1 supported lightning charms on these ones, and Biting Frost. Supported skills consume enemy freeze to guarantee a critical hit, and area of effect. And we have more slots what we combine, but I'm not pretty sure what we will find out what is possible and what is a good synergy for this ones. So if you're questioning about the frost, we will continue later on the cast on crit about the extra frosts. Sniper's Mark. It's a spell, you have to cast it, it lasts for 8 seconds. Hits against marked enemies have 38% to critical damage bonus. And what's really important, mark a target causing the next critical hit they receive to deal extra damage and grants you a frenzy charge. So if you hit crit, you get a frenzy charge and the mark will get removed. So that's really important. So you crit and you get a frenzy charge. That's pretty good to get frenzy charges. And I have to also get more information about this, or testing. Supports neural overload, supports any skill that hits enemies. Nearby enemies are marked when they are primed for electrocution, and hitting a marked enemy with a supported skill will electrocute them. Supported skills electrocute primed enemies on hit. I just added that we have it on the view. We are not connecting it with Sniper Mark, but this one is also pretty interesting to maybe connect it to like lightning rod, because electrocuting arrow is anyways electrocuting, so maybe we don't need it anymore anyways, but it's just for notice. Combat Frenzy, our second way how we get frenzy charges. It's a buff, it's reserved 30 spirits, and while active, grants you a frenzy charge. When you freeze, electrocute, that was like what we talked before, or pin an enemy, this can only occur once every few seconds. Gain a frenzy charge when you freeze, electrocute, or pin, no more than 6.3 seconds, I said this. So we add less duration. So we remove 30% skill effect duration on the combat frenzy. So it says afterwards we remove like the 30% and we are getting around 4.1 seconds cooldown. So I hope it works. So we are just pushing down the cooldown from the combat frenzy buff, and we are getting way faster our frenzy charges. Then we can connect precision and lightning exposure. That's probably we put the support in like the attacks, but I just added it that we don't forget to talk about this. So we would probably add it to lightning rod or electrocuting arrows. Probably there it would be fitting the most best. Cast on crit. It's also a buff, and it reserves 100 spirit. So we have 130 spirit already like reserved. Cast on crit says gains 10 energy when you deal a crit with a skill, triggers all socket spells, and loses all energy on reaching maximum energy. So, what does it say? If we fulfill the threshold, it triggers all spells. That's important. Spells. So, we want to trigger Frost Bomb. Frost Bomb deals like a base cold damage, 4% more damage with hits per 0.1 seconds duration. So you can scale this up with duration, but we don't want to scale this up for like extra damage. We want to have the freeze chance because it has 5% chance for hits to be freezing. And it adds also reduced life regeneration on enemies. That's really, really strong. So it's 75% reduced life regeneration if they have like mods on the enemies that they can regen. Cold exposure applies an extra minus 15 to cold resistance, and also 75 reduced energy recharge regeneration rate. So we are covering life regeneration and energy shield regeneration on the enemies and try to freeze them a little bit. Then the next one is Frost Nexus. Supports any skill that hits enemies, causing them to create patches of chilled ground around frozen enemies. So we are creating chilled ground for 4 seconds when any of our attacks freeze an enemy. Eye of the Winter. We add this also on cast on crit. It says it's a spell projectile, fires a single eye projectile which does not hit enemies. The eye constantly releases damaging shards, projectiles in a spiral as it flies, plus an extra burst of shards at the end of its flight. If the eye passes over an elemental ground effect, for example, freezing, like chill, or even like shocked ground, or burning ground. If the eye passes over an elemental ground effect, it will take on that effect, applying it to nearby enemies and causing shards to deal more damage of the corresponding type. So that's really, really interesting for spreading more our chilled ground. And here we have also a lightning wrap. Not sure if we really want to keep this, but it casts automatically when we crit. So I have to try it out if it's fun or if it's like really not good to use. But lightning wrap says targets an enemy and teleports to them after a duration if they can be culled. Enemies around you that can be culled will be highlighted. When the teleport occurs, the target is culled and explodes, dealing lightning damage and creates shocked ground. Casting again will queue up the multiple teleportations to occur in sequence. So we are culling an enemy with a lightning rod, automatically we get like teleported to them and they get called, they die, explode, and leave a shock ground for 10 seconds. So we have shock ground and hopefully chilled ground everywhere, spread it around. And the Eye of the Winter is like spreading this when it's like going over it. So we spread our good grounds on the whole area. So that's the idea about this. So otherwise we add Frostbolt. Fires a slow moving projectile that leaves a wake of chilled ground, deals cold damage and explodes on colliding with terrain. So that's also like a possibility to get some more chilled ground. Probably a little bit more easy. Maybe we just use this. And yeah, you can also let me know what do you think so far about all of these skills, what we would add. But yeah, let me know in the comments what do you think. And yeah, let's just continue. So I will add like blasphemy. Also not pretty sure if we keep all of these. So I added blasphemy. So sniper's mark is not working with this because it's a curse mark duration. So I'm pretty sure blasphemy is not working with the sniper's mark, but we add heightened curse, 25 more effect of supported curses, and clarity. So we want clarity as a buff, and this blasphemy is also we have to see. We have also like empty slots. Maybe we have to add the clarity and all these to different sockets, but clarity would be nice. Then we add like also enfeeble. We get curse duration and curses all enemies in an area after a short duration, causing them to deal less damage. So it's more for the defense that we have extra less damage from enemies. So it says like cursed normal, magic, or rare monsters, 21% less damage, and unique deal 16% less. That's pretty good. And also the other idea is maybe temporal chains to get on this, that they are slower. But yeah, probably enfeeble, so then we don't have to deal with like putting the curses around if we really have space for all these slots. So yeah, sniper's mark we don't use, and probably also clarity will go in another slot. But enfeeble or temporal chains could be a really good idea. So why we even don't want to have all this frenzy production? So we want to use the frenzy charges. So if it's like in PoE 1, you can get around easily some frenzy charges. So it's minimum 3. Probably it's the same when you are in Path of Exile 2. It's just speculation from me now. I'm not pretty sure how many you can achieve, but I think it's quite a bit amount of frenzy charges what you can get. And Barrage uses frenzy charges. So ready a volley of arrows, causing your next bow attack to repeat multiple times, consuming your frenzy charges on use to add additional repeats. Buff lasts for up to 5 seconds. Buff causes your next bow attack to repeat 2 times, plus an additional time per frenzy charge consumed. So that means that if you have, for example, 5 frenzy charges, it will cast extra attacks. So that's really, really good, or like repetitions of attacks. So it's really nice. And also with this thrilling case. So benefits from consuming frenzy charges for your skills have 50% chance to be doubled. So that means if we consume the frenzies, we have per frenzy charge at 50% chance to have the double effect. So that's like really, really a lot. If it's proccing, we are repeating like a lot times when we are shooting our attacks. So reduced cooldown. We add reduced cooldown on Barrage. So supported skill have 30 increased cooldown recovery rate because the cooldown is 5 seconds and we reduce it for 30%. More duration. We add also more duration, skill effect duration. So the barrage lasts, the buff lasts 5 seconds and we are cranking up the duration on 30%. Then barrage is a spell and it has a cast time from 0.7 seconds. So we add a faster casting support that you will activate it way faster. And perpetual charge. Supported skills have 35% chance to not remove charges but still count as consuming them. So that's like an extra buff for like the 50% increased if to be doubled, and that we are not losing the charges and can use them again. So this is the main attack with the barrage what I want to play around at the league start. So I hope you find it interesting, the video, and let me know in the comments what do you think about this. And yeah, if you want, I can put the more information if needed. You can also join my Discord, and I will start live streaming on Twitch when the league is starting. I hope you have a really nice day and see you soon. Once gags, thanks for watching.